Next up, Rita Brooks. She's the Executive Chairperson of Tambourah Metals, ASX code TMB. Very exciting projects over in the West. Rita, great to see you. Over to you.
Thank you, Kerry, and thank you for the opportunity to introduce Tambourah Metals and give a highlight summary of what we've been doing since we listed in August last year. So there's the usual forward-looking statements, and we've got 5 projects, 3 in the Pilbara, 2 advanced gold projects. The new Russian Jack lithium project is just being developed, and Julimar North, which was obviously a standout, and we've expanded that, and we've got at least over 8 projects now that are on the go there in various stages. In the Pilbara, over 10 million ounces has been found in 10 years. It had been explored and mines developed, but for iron ore, we know the Pilbara, but the Pilbara for gold is a new phenomenon that has been highlighted with Hemi, over up to 9 million ounces determined, and that was since announced last year. So,
and I remember, Rita, going back in the day when no one believed that you could find gold in the Pilbara, and now look at De Grey with their almost 9 million. Unbelievable.
Exactly. And existing old gold mines, and they extended and started looking for gold in the granites, and that's where we're located. The Tambourah is greenstone against the granites with historic gold mines, several kilometres. So we've added to our knowledge base in the last few months with a complete geophysical interpretation, and I'll look forward to showing you that shortly. With the critical minerals, nickel at PGEs, copper, identified at Julimar, and we've got a growing project base there, which we've just completed geophysics. And at Russian Jack, back in the Pilbara, we've got identified historic prospects for tin, tantalum and lithium, but no one has drilled or sampled. At Achilles, it's a nickel, PGE and copper north of Laverton in the northeastern goldfields. We raised $8 million in August, and we're currently well funded with $6 million. So that's a summary there. The full presentation will be on the website. That just locates us, and you can see the Cheela Gold Project sits between Northern Star, nearly 1 million ounces, and Kalamazoo, 1.6 million ounces. The Cheela project sits on the same fault structure that reaches all the way down to Capricorn Metals, which has identified and commenced mining of 2 million ounces of gold. So this is a big structure. We haven't drilled this. We're going in the process of completing heritage clearance, and then we'll be on the ground in the middle of the year. This is a very exciting project because we've assembled all the drill data, and that has led us to give targets way in advance of where we would be. There's over $1.8 million worth of drilling that has been completed at Cheela over the 25 years. You can see where the Hemi is located, De Grey mining, 2 million ounces initially, and then the extension, which brings it up. So Tambourah is a high value gold grades up to 1 ounce per tonne, 38 grams for 2,000 ounces, and over 5,000 ounces has been mined from the historic gold mines. The recent drilling, I'll just draw your attention to Western Chief, which is where we're going back to re-drill. There was significant gold grades, but if you look at the very last line of Western Chief, it included 2 metres at 21 grams, but the depth is only 39 metres. It's not deep in today's terms. It is if you're using a pick and shovel in 1890s, but with our expertise and geophysics, we've assembled new data to look at where the other lower grade but extensions of these mines.
Rita, just to be clear, there's been no recent drilling out here. Is that what you're saying? That there's
the last drilling was done in 2019, and before that it was 1990. Wow. So very, very sporadic. And we confirmed the 1990 grades with the drilling in 2019, but I listed the project in order to raise the funds to do the expensive part of the operation, which is diamond drilling and RC drilling. So with the new geophysical targets, looking at the data that was flown in 2016, we've been able to purchase that and remodel that data in relation to the known historic mines. And the pink lines that you can see is the geophysical interpretation of where that gold corridor runs. We've identified that with magnetic targets, and the red outlines is very exciting because this is an undisclosed, only the top section is an old mine called the World's Fair. And on the, as it goes down, there's several undisclosed or unidentified potential quartz reefs that have never been mined. So that's our second target. And the third target is gold against the granites in that yellow zone. It looks like it's a very deep-seated target. So we've got several areas that we'll be focusing on, but this interpretation extends our gold for 4 kilometres to the south. So we're very excited. This gives you an idea of where the Western Chief is in relation to Kushmati. And when we've modelled this up, so just that zone is 2.5 kilometres long, very shallow drilling. And they're the numbers of some of the historic drill holes that we have. And we've put them into a 3D model. And the 3D model, if you can look at the Western Chief to the Western Chief number 1, you can see that's based on where the gold has been drilled first. So Kushmati, 10 metres at 10 grams. So they're ppm grades, but you can see the known information, high gold grades at these distinct individual historic mines, but no drilling in between. And yet our geophysical targets have shown that there is continuity. So that's what we're going to drill test.
And just for those of you out there that are very new to this, new investors, ppm means parts per million, correct me if I'm wrong, Rita,
yeah,
and the higher up you get, the more exciting it gets. So if you just look from a colour point of view, where you see the deep purple or the pinks, that's where there's some pretty exciting opportunities.
Exactly. So if you look at the Western Chief, where that peak is, that's actually used, that information's from where I pointed out the 2 metres at 21 grams. So that gives you an idea that these seem to be quartz reefs running parallel, but we don't know what's happening when they hit past the federal and hit up against the granites and the deep structures. So that's what's going to be very exciting. We'll find that out when we're just completing heritage clearance. And once we have that report in the next few weeks, we anticipate being on the ground and implementing our drilling program, which will be our first program for 2022. The historic data, I pointed out the federal mine. I'll just go back and see where the federal mine is there. Historically, we've found that they had 37 grams a tonne. The Western Chief, 31 grams a tonne. The World's Fair, 32 grams a tonne. So they were the average grades when they were hand mining and air. So they had small mining camps, and they were all owned individually, so within 9 hectare lots. So having consolidated this area, we've got a huge potential to grow the project, and that's what we plan to do. So drill testing the old mines, and then with the geophysical interpretation, extensions of the historic mine, identify new zones of quartz reefs, and seek out the deeper structures, test them with drilling when they're coincident boundaries of the granite versus the greenstone, which we all know the Hemi story. The deeper drilling and that identified large bodies can be won from this structure, which until Hemi was worked on over the last few years. We didn't work gold in granites in the Pilbara. So the next target is Cheela, and the Cheela is 75 kilometres long. So we know this Nandjul fault hosts the Paulsons, 1 million ounces, 75 kilometres away, 900,000 ounces, sorry, and 1.6 million ounces down at Mount Olympus. So we've got the drill targets because from the electric dingo up, we've got over 7.5 kilometres, 16 metres at 4 grams at 88 metres from historic drilling, and 12 metres at 3.8, including 6 metres at 6.4. So those numbers are from drilling that's taken place for the last 25 years. So some of the area was in joint venture looking for base metals, and so the gold grades weren't highlighted. And when we've consolidated that information, we've got some very strong, convincing data to plan, and we have approved drill holes. We're just doing the heritage clearance again. So that,
ladies and gentlemen, sorry to interrupt you, Rita. Go back to that slide if you wouldn't mind. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where you've got to have a look at it. Mount Olympus Gold Mine to the south, Paulson's to the north, and look where Tambourah Metals are, right along that major structural corridor.
Yes. So, and further down, you've also got the Capricorn of 2 million ounces. So we're looking for big elephants here, but there's their starting point, 7.5 kilometres long, and you've got grades that identified 39 metres, 88 metres. These are shallow targets. These are shallow. So we're looking forward to identifying and summarising the work that we've built on in this database. Russian Jack, the lithium story. This ground has been applied for, will be on the ground in May. It was based the absolute identifying structure of the split rock supersuite, which does host the lithium LCT pegmatites. We identified that there's tin, tantalum and lithium on the periphery, but there's no drilling and no soil sampling, no identification within these areas. And again, it was, it's just a granite, so we're not going to look for anything. But at the end of the day, we've got identified pegmatite swarms to the northeast, and on the southwest, you've got identified pegmatite zones. So we'll be out on the ground and watch this space.
2 minutes.
So Julimar, we're the largest landholder in Julimar after Chalice. We've got a large land holding, but it's highly prospective. At Bolgart in the very centre, you can see that it was, we had gold indication, but no one has drilled for sulfides and let alone identified platinum potential. At Caravel, it's a copper and project, and Wongan Hills is our new project. We're assembling the geophysical data. We've had some marvellous high quality targets identified through the airborne gravity survey that we completed. That announcement was January 24. So go to the website and follow up with the recent announcements, which will explain a lot more of our targets. And in summary, we're well funded, fighting to push forward Pilbara gold and lithium, and Julimar North, nickel PGEs, and perhaps at Wongan Hills, copper and gold. And the Achilles project is in the northeast of Laverton, which is also another target area for gold, lithium, nickel and PGEs.
Rita, it was a fantastic presentation. We know we've not got a lot of time. You raised 8 million only in August last year. You've done a huge amount of work. 30 seconds on why investors should be sitting up and taking notice right now.
I think we are well placed. We've got fabulous advanced gold projects. Gold has a stable price, and it has the share price is in tab moment is under the radar. I don't think people have recognised that the potential of the Julimar North portfolio is a standout, but the Pilbara gold and lithium will be our immediate focus when we get on the ground drilling.
Thank you, Rita. Rita Brooks, Executive Chairperson from Tambourah Metals, ASX code TMB. Check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting projects and times ahead.